Okay, guys, so we are finally working on the back end of this. And if you haven't been around, we basically are working on piping a TUI application through WebSockets. Let me just go run the WebSocket on the back end so that um, USS, so we can reload this and uh, I'll show you what we're going to be working on now. So that's basically a TUI application piped through WebSockets, and we just got done building in this series the React front end and a pure HTML CSS version of this. So what we want to do now is in this video I want to work on the WebSocket stuff and get Redis installed. This should be a small part of it, just getting Redis going, and then the major part is like the WebSocket stuff that actually pipes this. So if we hop over to, so this is our example server. So right here's the example server, right? This is the server we're working on, smash dev, and there is no backend for this right now, so it's not loading the terminal app yet, but we do want to get it to talk to the WebSocket and be able to see the rows and columns output it on the back end. So what we can do, the first thing we need to do is actually install Redis. So let's say we are on, I'm going to cd to the back end of this actually. So clear this. So we just got done with the front end here. That's the React version. Now we're working on this back end where the WebSocket is going to be, and we can actually touch that real quick. We'll just say like go ahead and create that. We can also npm init-y on this back end, and we'll modify this later, but let's get Redis installed. We'll focus on that first so we can get that out of the way. So I'm just on Redis's page here, and I'm using Ubuntu, so I'm going to do the apt version. And then what I want to do is I'm going to ignore this one here, but I do want to do these now. Let's see, I'll probably, yes, overwrite that. I think I've already did this, but I haven't actually installed it yet, because the version that it has, I think for this is like, this is a newer one. And basically the Redis doesn't exist for the newest 24.10 release, so we want to go back to Jammy from Ocular or something like that. So that's what we're going to do, and I'll show you how to do that. So once we get all of this stuff, and like you just keep pasting these lines in here, see how it has this oracular thing here? That's fine. What we want to actually do is go get, so it'll install Redis, right? But it won't install Redis 8. So I believe what we can do is, let's head over to this sources.list now. Like if you've copied all of these, don't do the update yet. What we want to do now is head into Etsy apt sources.list, and if you ls this, you'll see a redis.list in there now. So if you cat that, you'll see it has this ocular here. So I want to change that. So I'm just going to vi this here, and then I'm going to head to the end of this line, and we'll change that to Jammy, Jammy. So right, and then I'm going to escape, right, quit that. Okay, now I'm going to say apt get update. Okay, and you can see that it went and fetched these. So had I not changed this to Jammy, it would throw an error. So now we can apt get install Redis, and yeah, let's see, apt get install Redis, right? I think you can do Redis server too. Hopefully it gets the latest version. Oh, I think it's getting the 6.8. Redis CLI. See, okay, so Redis is running now. Let's do this. Let's see. Yeah, how do we show Redis version from Redis CLI? Okay. Let's see what we get here. So I believe, okay, it did. It updated. It installed the latest version. That's what I was looking for right there. Is that 8.2? So if you're running like Ocular or something like that, and you're on your Ubuntu 24.10, probably like for Linode they don't have the 25 release yet, so I have to use the 24.10 latest release is Ocular, but they don't have the 8.2 available for that. So you have to kind of change that to be Jammy and trick the package manager, but it works and runs fine. So as you can see, we can say like service Redis status, and you can see that it's running right here. Okay, I believe yeah, it shouldn't be running on any other ports, but anyways, we'll take a look at that here. Oh yeah, so it's running on 127, just the local host. Okay, so it shouldn't be exposed outwardly right now. Okay, where is C? So I believe we can see the etsy/redis lsys. Yeah, so in there is the redis conf anyways, and if we vi that, let me just see something too. Okay, that's good. So I'll make sure that was going. So down in here, like, let's take a look at this. There should be something that says like run in protected mode or safe mode or something like that. Bind, so you can bind to different ports here, but we're not binding outside. Okay, so this is like here I usually do change this right now. Like I just don't want to bind to anything else but just my IPv4. And then I believe there's like the protected mode, yes. So that means just run on localhost. So you kind of want those two things, just protected mode and run it on localhost. Because the only thing that's going to be talking to it is the WebSocket server, really. And the app that runs. So not even the WebSocket. Well, yeah, maybe I think we do it in the WebSocket server and the TUI. Both talk to the Redis. I forget why the WebSocket needs to, but okay, cool. So that's that. I'm just going to quit this. Quit that because we did change that. So now that Redis is running, so like we do Redis CLI, and we can do like keys star, right? So empty array, we can say set x to hello, right? And then we'll say like keys blah. So now we have like one Redis key in there, and then we can say del one keys delete one. Delete key one. I don't know. How we purge those keys? Purge. We'll figure this out. Purge Redis keys. All keys. Yeah. So we're gonna need this too. So flush all. That's what we need. So we'll just like flush it all here, and that gets an okay. So we can do like keys star, and now we have an empty array here. Okay. So I'm gonna clear this and just exit out of the Redis stuff for now. So we have successfully installed Redis and got it going, and it's running on localhost. Now the big portion of this is getting our backend going. So we just, what's this for the update here? Let me ls this. Yes, we have our package JSON here. Is that not going to update? There it is. So let's go and get this as a module here. We don't need that. We don't want that. And we want to change this up here to type colon module. There we go. And get rid of that last comma there. That makes things break. All right, there we go. So package is all good to go. So what we can do now is let's close this so that it can add to the dependencies. If you keep this open and then save this by accident, it deletes all of the dependencies you would install with like npm. Okay, cool. So now I have wss.js open, right? We're also gonna just need real quick like a new file. We'll call it like utils, just for some shareable utility functions. Okay, so yeah, we have utils and ws open. So if I ls this, that's what we have so far. We just modified this. So I'm going to clear this. So the WebSocket that we need, the WebSocket, the Node.js WebSockets package that I use is UWebsockets. So we can go over to UWebsockets. Sorry if I'm talking loud. It's probably from the music. You know, to turn it down, but so in here we have UWebsockets. Let me just zoom in on this, and there is a like a JS version, and we're gonna go grab this, and then we'll say like the latest tags here is gonna be 20.52. So we'll click that just to make sure we're at the right one. Well, actually, let's go see branches. We'll just say master branch. Sometimes he has the updated one right here. Okay, cool. Sometimes the tag, like they'll update node and he won't always include the latest version right here, and you have to go to the tag and just change this, or just copy this and change this number to the latest one if the tag is available. So that happens a lot with this. well, not all the time, but like I've run into it a few times where node updates. I'm always trying to use the latest node, but he hasn't updated this. The way he compiles it, it won't run with the latest node. Okay, cool. So now we have this. Let's install UWebsockets. Okay, and this is like a really fast WebSocket server for Node.js. I love it. Been using it for years. So we can do npm install dash dash save. Actually, I think we already have most of that in the command there. So now we can say like dash dash save, right? All right. Okay. That took a little longer than normal. I don't know why. What the hell's happening in here? Oh, yeah. All right. So now that that's installed, let me just see about the. Let me see the package as well. We will get. Let's just do this npm install. I don't think we'll use all of these like UUID, Nanoid, just to have some like ID stuff, and then we'll do Redis, so we can talk to Redis later. I think that's it for those. We'll just do those. Oops, I kind of want to do a data save on those, just so we can see it in our package list. So we'll install UUID, Nanoid, and the Redis. Technically, we don't. Just make sure if we like official Redis npm. Is it Node Redis? Is that the official one? Yeah, that is actually, isn't it? Okay, so npm install Redis, both Node Redis and Redis. So yeah, perfect. That's what we're looking for, is the official one there. Now this has been important. So there are like multiple like PTY packages available, like which runs terminal data in Node, or like so you can do PTY terms in Node. But this one is pretty awesome. So I'm gonna pop it here, and I'll show you what it is. It's like Homebridge node-pty pre-built multi-arc, right? So let's go grab this one, and we can just do like yeah, there it is right there. Okay, so this is what we want. Okay, so he's actually updated this pretty recently, compared to like a lot of other ones. So yeah, I think it's like forked from Microsoft's node-pty. You can go check this one out. I don't think this one's really been updated. See, like 8 years ago, 6 months, 5 months ago. So it's not bad. I guess you could well, yeah, see, like this pipeline stuff failed. Like it just doesn't. You could probably get away with using this. I believe they're very, very similar. And almost anything we probably do in this one, you could test out in this one and see if it works. But I went with this one from Homebridge, and it seems to work very well. So that's what we're going to install, and you can grab the this right here, this line right like that, and that's what we'll do. Let me clear this. npm install dash save, that right there. Okay, so basically we light up WebSocket, and what this does is that says, okay, you have a WebSocket, somebody's connected to you, like now what? Well, now I want to give them a PTY terminal to my system, right? And run an application in that. That's what that's going to allow to do. Normally, you could just talk to the WebSocket and send them data from a database, something else. But now the WebSocket saying, hey, I want to launch a PTY terminal process thing and send it through a WebSocket. So you could just use this without the WebSockets. You don't have to use them together. This is for running PTYs in Node. So that's that. So now that we have all that installed, it comes down to actually doing the PTY terminal. We are running over HTTPS, and that's going to be important because remember, if you in the previous videos we did like the Certbot stuff, right? So we have certificates. Also in the back end here, I'm just gonna clear this out and just show you, like if I cd to /etc engine let's encrypt, yeah, and we'll go to like live here, and I'll just ls this. So we do have certificates for this domain, right? So we are going to need that for this this here. Okay, we want to run, you can't have an HTTPS site that talks to a non like secured WebSocket. If you're running HTTPS, you have to talk to WSS, which means your WebSocket server has to use certificates, but like vice versa. Unsecured WebSockets can only talk to HTTP instead of HTTPS. So that's what we're going to do. So I'm just going to bring in like some stuff here to get like up and running packages. We'll bring in our utils here. There's only a few utils, so let's actually get our utils stuff filled out. So these are just going to be some utility functions. So before we work on WS, let's just create some utility functions, right? So what I'm putting in here is this right here, and I'll explain what these are. We'll come back to them too as we use them. This is just a log, like basically a formatter for date. We probably don't need this. We could get this out of here. But we have an event emitter in case we need to emit events, right? So we have like, just take a look at this object here, and we could technically make this simpler. We'll just do this so that it looks like a real thing. I just do that so like less things get attached to the object. But all these are our functions in this object. There's 3 of them plus an event emitter in here so that I can access those from the outside when we import utils somewhere, okay? So this is just a date formatter, takes an ISO date and formats it. It's actually, I think, a new API, this date.time format with this .intel thing there. So that's all that is. ISO date formatter. And then utility functions here. So we'll just event emitter. Let's say log data. We can put this all in one line too, actually. Like a logger format. ISO. Probably won't use that one. And then this array buffer toString we will use, and I'll explain what this is. Okay, so this just takes an array buffer because a WebSocket's going to actually have array buffer, like an array buffer, a buffer of like array elements coming in. It's not an actual UTF string yet, UTF-8 string, so it's just a bunch of numbers like blah 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 67, 68, 69. I'll show you that before we actually convert it to a string so you know what I'm talking about. So we need this to convert that array buffer to an actual UTF-8 string. So that's what that is. All right, so now let's actually start filling this out, which bringing all this stuff from the C. So we do need our utils, so we'll bring in our utils. So this is how we just did this, right? We're exporting this const utils right here. So we can bring that in just by saying like in our WSS import utils from /utils, right? And then we can just try and do like a log data. We'll just test this out real quick. We'll say utils.log data. Something cool. And then that'll be it. And we'll just try and run like our node.js here. So there you go. So now you see this something cool, and you get this little formatted date string right there. Okay, so that's using our utils package to log something right here. Like it takes, like it's using this utils log data, some message, and it just outputs it with a date right here and the message. Okay, so that is all that is, and we'll probably just use it a little bit. But okay, cool. So now we know how like the imported utils and their functions work. We can just call any function we see in here now, or add other functions in here that we need and call them in here. It's just like a kind of keeps it organized from the actual WebSocket server. Okay, cool. So now that that's in there, let's bring in our third-party packages. We won't bring in Redis yet. Let's see here. So import Redis later. Okay, but these are going to be, well, yeah, we'll actually pop this down here. Then let's see, so we have that. So we'll say like we'll bring in, we'll say our packages here. We'll have our Redis package. We'll talk to the Redis. So we'll say Redis will be under our packages. But we are going to bring in Nanoid just for the hell of it. UWS, this is our UWebsockets stuff. We'll have UUID. And then this is where we bring in our PTY stuff. So as you can see how all these pieces are coming together. Okay. Don't freak out if we don't use Nanoid or whatever, or this. I always just bring them into my stuff so I can give things IDs and other projects. Well, that could have screwed us up later. Okay, cool. So that's it. So we have those imported. Now we want to actually start creating the WebSocket server. With UWebsockets, what we need to do is something like this, right? I'm gonna change this one to this server though, so I can say like and we'll change this right here, like, okay. So now we're open on our WebSocket server, and see what we'll do is, yeah, so we got that open. We're gonna need open, and we'll fill these in later. Let's actually pop this in like this. So this will be like the, actually that'll be the upgrade stuff right there. So let's go do that. This is getting kind of confusing. So first, let's just start with this, okay? So we're going to start with, we're calling this UWebsocket stuff, and now we need to bring in our, in order to run it as like HTTPS, like, or WSS WebSocket, we need to tell it where our certificates are, okay? Just like we did with our Nginx stuff. So if I see, oops, if I cd to etc Nginx sites available, if you were following along, and I like, and I cat this mic drop thing. So this is the Nginx config, right? It also, the front end web app is actually using the same certificate. So you can pretty much just copy these to the full chain and the private key. We also want those in here. So full chain for the cert and private key for the key there. Okay, so now to actually open our WebSocket, and we'll take a look at this. Remember, we're connecting to this route right here, right? So now when we come to our domain, we're going to actually proxy through Nginx to this port, but we're going to run on port 1600. We want to come to this route right here, okay? So let's bring in this. I'm just going to do some basic settings real quick. So we have like this kind of thing going on, and this is all in their documentation, but the thing to pay attention to is this upgrade thing right here. So we'll fill this in. The next thing to pay attention to is like the open thing, okay? So we have like open, right? Next thing to pay attention to is like we're gonna have messages, like, so something to do with the message, okay? And then we are going to have a drain and a close, and we can basically do something like this. Oh yeah, that's why we need to talk to Redis, but we're not doing that yet. So these are all the functions of UWebsockets, okay? So once we have the close, we can start to listen. So this will be like this. And what we'll do is this will be our listen stuff right here. So we'll have like this, okay? So let me just kind of clear this down here. I'm gonna shrink this, and you can see that we're just using our like stuff here, that like the log data functions right there. Okay, cool. So that's all that is that utils log data functions for different things, like when we open it and when like that we drain or close, right? So here we go. Let me zoom out of this. So far, that's all our app is. It looks bigger when you're zoomed in, but this is it. This is the bare bones WebSocket server that runs over WSS, right? So we can actually test that, I believe, real quick. So we could say like node.WSS, just see what it's freaking out about. Can't find. Am I in the wrong? Oh, I'm in the wrong. cd2 var ww drop dot back end here. Let me zoom in on this at least. So say node WSS. Okay, smash dev. So yeah, this is the error you'll get. Like if any, like normally you will see app construction failed if these key certs are wrong. So once in a while, like it happens to me now and then, I had typos, and it's definitely because of these things. Usually I say that and now watch it not run, but it ran. So yes, the majority of the time, if you see failed construction message, it's because of a typo in here, or these, it can't find these right here, or permissions, or something wrong with the key file or the cert file name. Now that that's up and running, it will not allow connections until you actually have some sort of upgrade filled out. Okay, so so these are all settings in the documentation. Like if you go to the documentation for UWebsockets is pretty awesome. We could say like, let me just bring that up real quick. So documentation, like I would definitely read through this. It tells you all about like how to set it up and stuff. But so there's a lot of functions we already set up, or actually where where's the listen response to this? I'll get. So this is the behavior. That's the one I'm looking for. So open and close, upgrade. Should be upgraded. There it is. So see, so the WebSocket behavior is kind of what, like, where these functions are coming from, like the upgrade, open, message, drain, close. Like if you check out these, that's what this is. WebSocket behavior, right? This WebSocket is actually kind of refers to the client. Basically, we can close it, but or subscribe a WebSocket client to a channel, send to it, things like that. So don't get confused by this WebSocket. Like I think of this one as like the server, and this one in the documentation as the client, and you'll see that. So this is a server one, and that's what we're working on now. Like upgrade, message, close, server or something. So that's this. Okay, so we want to fill out this upgrade stuff, and just to allow us to be able to like talk to a client. Okay, so what we need in here is basically this. You need to define an aborted thing. So without an aborted definition, UWebsockets fails. Okay, an abort, well, without an abort handler, I should say. Okay, so you need to have this abort handler defined right here. Okay, that's all it is right there. Okay, and then this is all you need for the res upgrade, and you do need to have this this context in here. Okay, why did it look so funny to me as far as the upgrade thing goes here? So it's, oh yeah, you can have custom elements in here. So let me actually do that. Custom data here that you want for the upgrade. Forgot about that. Usually I do have custom data in there, but I think I deleted it for this project, just to, you know, clean things out a little bit. So that's all that is. So you can have an object here like as custom data, but you do need to say, like, with the upgrade, you have to pass the key, the protocol, and the WebSocket extension. So by the protocol, this is what I mean here. Like, we can actually console log this. Let's do that. I'll show you. I'm going to console log, right, like a header, and we're going to console log that, so when we connect, we can see what this, oops, we want that one right there. Get this header right here. I'll show you on our source here, components, when we have in our app provider on the front end, see this that field right there, that's the protocol field, and it's like one of the only headers clients on the front end, like browsers allow you to actually change or set. So we can set this, and then like in here you can check for that protocol. It's just there's no real security with it or anything like that, but you can use it to say, hey, is this, like, you could put like a secret key in there. So like if people are like using bots against your WebSocket server, check for that key to see like if that exists from the front end. That protocol could be like this random ass key that you set. So I always kind of just check to see if it's right. I guess we're not doing that here right now, but we will actually. If it's not the protocol you set, then just don't accept the connection. Don't do the upgrade. Okay, like don't do this. Just ws dot like close, like rec or request dot close or something. So there's that. So let's see if we actually get something here. Okay, so on open, what we'll do is, yeah, we'll do a try and catch. Like on the open here, we'll say try, because let's try and see if we can at least in this video like see our rows and columns, right? So we'll say try and catch here. And then what we'll say is, I'm gonna say, yeah, we'll console log this right here. We'll say, let's see if we actually get a message from the front end. So this is where we're JSON.parsing. Let's console log. First, we'll console log the message, and then we'll do this. So I just want to show you that what the an array buffer looks like. So kill this, get rid of that space. It's gonna be driving me nuts, and then we'll just console log. That open not have the, oh, that's in the open. I'm in the wrong place here. We don't want that there. In the open, we will do some things, and then, but I don't think we need to do that right away. Let's just do this. So this is in the message. My bad. We are going to do some things for this open stuff here. Not needed quite yet. quite yet. Okay, leave the function there, but we don't not doing anything in the open yet. But in the message thing, we'll see if we can console log the actual message, and then we want to convert it to JSON here. So we'll do that in a little bit. So that's all we're doing here. So let's go and try and run this WebSocket server and see if we get any errors. We don't. So like in theory, it's running on port 1600. If you're running a firewall and you don't want to expose that port to the internet, what we can do is, and what we're going to do actually is, let me clear this. I'm going to say we're going to proxy we're going to proxy from Nginx to that port. So I'm going to say vi Nginx sites available, right? What the hell? Oops, that's not what I want to do. Get out of here. Wait, okay. Yeah, sites available, and then this. Sorry, I'm getting tired here. And then we want, yeah, let's do that. So let me bring this up here. So what we're gonna do is, let me see about, let's see, it's gonna look like this. Products, I want to make sure we kind of do the same thing here. Yes, this would be a lot of stuff, but it'll work. So down here, what we're going to do is we want to tell Nginx that like when it gets, we want to tell our Nginx config that when it gets a request for this location here, proxy out to here. So yeah, that looks good. So down insert, yeah. Let's bring this back. Actually, let's pop all these in. So yeah, we just pop all these in like this, so it's like looks pretty good. I guess I could select all those, but whatever. Just do it one by one. I gotta get back up on my Vim. But I'm kind of looking it over at the same time. Sometimes I take my time with that. So that looks pretty good. Okay, cool. So let's pop this into actually this 84. Yeah, that's good. Okay, so in our Nginx config, we want to proxy any request to this location /WSS to our WebSocket server. Okay, you could go directly to 1600 from the code if you wanted to, and what I mean by that is this right here. So on this, we're going to /WSS. If you don't proxy from Nginx, you have to do like 1600 like this. We could actually do both. For now, we'll try this without the proxy, and then we'll take this off here. So both ways. Well, actually no, because you have to open that. I'd have to open that port up. So we'll just do this one right now. In theory, that should work. So technically what this is doing is telling Nginx, hey, when I come to that route, proxy me to 1600. That's what this is saying. If they come in to here at Nginx, Nginx is going to forward them to our WebSocket server, okay? And these are all the settings I kind of use for the like proxying over to a WebSocket. And you can see that we're proxy passing down here to 1600. So this over here is running on 1600, 127, 1600 right there. Okay, so that's that. So let's go run our WSS. So we could say like node WSS, right? So here it is, running on port 1600 in theory. We just updated our Nginx config. Let me show this so it looks, so you can see a little bit bigger. So here's our Nginx config. I'm gonna right quit this, right? I'm gonna go test it. Okay, so Nginx is telling me that that's okay, like that's works. So I can say service Nginx reload, right? So in theory, Nginx should now proxy over to 1600. Okay, so let's test it out. Let's see if we actually get an upgrade request. So I'm going to upgrade, or just console log for right now, this WebSocket protocol to see if we actually get that from our front end. In theory, like if I reload this, we come back over to here, and what you can see is there is our there's our protocol. And also too, like, remember, we sent over these bytes right here. That's what an array buffer looks like, right? So that doesn't look like a string to us, right? We need to convert that array buffer to a string. When our application first loads and connects, it sends over a JSON string. That's the rows and the columns. And that's what this is right here. So if we take this and uncomment it, right, and we console log this, what we're going to see is that rows and our columns from our front end, in theory, right? So I'm going to drop this down like this. We're going to reload our WebSocket server. Actually, let me clear that, and then we'll reload this. What the hell am I doing? Node.WSS. Okay. So let's reload this, our page here that requests the backend, right? What you're going to see is this right here. See this type, resize data, rows and columns. Am I still console logging? Yeah, I am. So I want to get rid of this console log. Well, actually, that's kind of cool. So see how we console log this message first? So see how we're passing this message into this array buffer to string? So it's taking this array buffer right here and converting it to a string, and then we're JSON parsing that. So we get this nice JSON object right here. So type resize the data, the rows and the columns. So our front end is now telling our back end WebSocket, hey, this is what the front end's rows and columns are. So when we launch a PTY terminal, we can set the front end's size for that PTY terminal, and that way there's no mismatch between what we send from the back end to the front end. So that's all that's doing. Hopefully that makes sense. So now that we have that, let's set some, we'll try and get as much done as we can in this video here now that we're going. But yeah, so let me just show you. This is the front end code. So remember, this is on the front end, like where we open a socket. And I think it was in like the viewport, makes more sense. Actually, the other version, the other one, the pure CSS HTML one's a little easier to understand compared to React, unless you're used to React. But so when a WebSocket initially loads, like in this app provider here, where was it that we actually set the initial rows and columns? I thought it was from here. Yeah, it's in the viewport, I think. Yeah, so see when this like on resize, well, that's on the resize. So when it initially loads, if not extra anonymous, go on time to send data. Okay, so this should fire on init as well. We'll put a message, fire on init, initialization and resize. Okay, so this is firing on. We could put like an AAA in here. I'd have to actually recompile that, but to front end, we can try it real quick. Run build on this, and then we'll see if we get this like AAA thing here. Okay. So let's just run this here, and then what we'll do is come back over to our back end here. We'll say like node WSS, right? So let's run this and see if we get this AAA thing like on our back end, okay? And you can see how it said that AAA stuff right there, right? So that's on initial load and resize. So in theory, if we resize our front end, which is like, remember, we're setting rows and columns whenever we resize our page, it's going to resend those new sizes there. So I'm going to change this back to what we want it to be. I'm going to go recompile this. And then what we're going to do is resize the page and see if we get all of those messages on the back end. So, okay, so let's go clear this. So I'm going to run this WebSocket server, and when we get a resize, we want to see all of that data come back over here. But I don't want to do, what I don't want is a whole bunch of these messages. So we're just going to comment that out. So the only thing we're going to see is the JSON object. Okay, so let's see if that happens. So we'll reload our front end, and then what we'll do is resize the, let's go and we'll just resize this like this. Okay, and what we should see back here is all of this resize data. Okay, so now we're getting all of this. Okay, so that's good. Yeah, we'll just console log the error for now up here in our message. But now we get it. So let's actually do this. I'm gonna shrink this up. So, and then I'm not the best with like Macs, but what we'll do is actually see if we can see this in real time here. So let's go clear this. And then what we'll do is, oops, yeah, we'll shrink this up a little bit. We'll go like this. So now what we should see is when we resize this, is all of that. Oops, we gotta refresh this. And now, so you'll see our protocol there too, mic drop. But yeah, so we can do this, and that's what you get. And so that's how quick the front end is sending, and the back end is processing the resize events. Okay, that JSON data. Yeah, that's it. Okay, so I think what we'll do is, now that kind of, hopefully that makes sense. Let's kill this. We'll keep on going as fast as we can here. Not as fast as we can, but let me zoom out too, so you can actually see that the WebSocket server, even though all that stuff kind of seems like there's a lot going on here, there really is not that much code right now. That's all there really is to our WebSocket server, is this right here. Okay, so, and all it's really doing is accepting resize messages from the front end. But we are proxying to that. So our proxy worked. That's good. So let's keep filling this out. So when we open up a, like, we don't really need to console log our protocol anymore. When we open the WebSocket, we want to set a few properties here, okay? And we can also console log and like let the front end know that we're like or let ourselves know that somebody connected or something like that. So on an open, what we're going to do is create like a RSID. I'm going to call it like a Redis session ID. So when a WebSocket connects, we want to maybe make an ID that we can link any Redis messages with to that front end. Okay, so we're going to we'll use Nanoid to do that. We'll call it the Redis session ID. Okay, so any messages or things that are going on between that client and Redis, we can know with this by using this ID here. Okay, we'll attach it to the WebSocket. So we also don't want to open up Pty terminal unless the initial rows and columns have come in. So we're going to attach already to our WebSocket object there. Okay, we can also attach .RSID is going to equal this here, but we also want that available. I guess we could don't have to set it like that up there, but I don't think there's any reason we have to do that. We could actually just do this. Let's see, let's do that. We'll just say ws.nanoid like that. Okay, could get rid of this. Oh, it's spacing. And then we'll say like a resize timeout. So remember when all those messages were flooding in? We don't want to resize our terminal every time we get a message. We kind of want to what's called debounce that. So like if we get 20 messages, wait until like the resize slows down, all those resize events slow down, then resize our terminal, then send it to the front end. Otherwise, your CPU and everything's gonna be working really hard resizing this Pty terminal and trying to output it to the front end like all the time. So we're gonna have like a resize timeout here. So we're gonna attach that to our actual WebSocket object. Okay, in the open, that's what that is. So maybe we could pipe out htop or something like that. So we could do like we'll just get rid of this for now. Like that's extra options. Let's take this array. We'll just send an empty array. And for now, we'll just do like htop and see if that actually works. Change the working directory. We'll just comment this out for a minute. And so see these initial rows and columns right there. Shell is going to equal this. Initialize time. I thought we got a init shell. Oh, on data. That's right. Okay. Yeah, so that will be the Pty. So we'll spawn this. I was wondering if we had to do that right away, but yeah. Okay. Let's try and do htop. Okay. So we'll omit this for now. pop this in here to on data. Let's just do this. So we're actually going to wrap this with something else later, but what we can do is say we're going to attach this PTY. So up here we define PTY from this node.prebuilt stuff, right? So we're saying let's create a new PTY terminal when a WebSocket connects. So that's what this is doing, and we're just saying give us like the xterm colors, and we're gonna run htop in it, okay? But this will be our node app later on, our mic drop app, the one that's like the, you know, like that green thing. That's what that is. And then once this PTY opens, any data like that comes in, we want to, or from the PTY terminal, we want to send out to the client. So that's what this is doing here. So that's what that is. And then, so we're saying ws.send any data that comes from here. So see this try catch function. So if our data is not JSON data, what we want to do is this right here. I don't care if it's ready technically, buffer. That looks good. Let's just do this. If it errors out from creating JSON data, it means it's WebSocket terminal data, so that we're like us sending back and not the actual resize events. So we're just going to convert that to a unit 8 array, and then this is your control C. So like if control C kill PTY term and WebSocket, okay? That's what that is. Okay, else if it's not the control C thing, just send like take the buffer from the message, convert it to a UTF-8 string and write that to our shell, like see ws.shell. Remember we attached that ws.shell up here. Okay, so in theory, I don't see anything that will stop this from actually working right now. I don't think there's anything else we really do there. We don't really need the, yeah, we do have the, so that's why we did that. So we don't want to initialize the shell. That's right. Okay, so let's actually go do that. So, well, we could try it without sending, like without the correct rows and columns yet. So even though the rows and columns stuff is coming in, we're not resizing our shell yet. We'll do that right after. Let's see what we can do is this. Let's just see if this, we'll say node WSS, right? So everything seems to be running. So in theory, from our front end, we should be able to get htop. So see this htop stuff there? Let me zoom in on this. So here's our htop. It's running, but it's not the correct size to our rows and columns here, right? So like you can zoom in on that, but it's just not the right size. So what we need to do is we need to take that rows and columns that we sent back and resize our PTY terminal so that the back end can format it correctly for the front end. So I'm gonna kill this. It should, in theory, send the, oh yeah, it does. It looks like it killed it. So see how this all stopped on our back end? See how it says WebSocket closed? That's because I hit Control C. It sent that to the back end and killed the WebSocket. You also see this resize data coming, so we need this. So what we're going to do now is not do this until we get our resize. So what we want to say is we're going to do this RSID. We'll say is okay. See this ws.ready right there? This init shell. We're going to attach a function around this here. So we'll do init shell okay. Init shell okay false. I forget why we did that, but we'll figure that out. Okay, cool. So we're going to attach, we're not going to send any data yet until we run this function here. Sorry, I had to check on some. Okay, so what we can do here is this. So let's just do this and then I'll explain it. So in our try function here, let's get rid of this. And then we'll clear this here for a minute. In our try stuff up here, like where we actually get the resize data, we can do something like this. If the tjo.type, remember we send a type with our object. So we want to say if the type is resized, then actually we should have rows and columns in there. Don't accept any other type of message unless the type is resized. So then we can set ws ready is true. And if not, ws init shell. Okay, so that's why if we get a bunch of like resize things, we don't want to keep initializing or setting up like this, but we do want to run this init function at least once and say, hey, we've got our initial rows and size. Let's init our data, our shell listening on for data and sending, and then don't do that again. But we do want to resize the terminal. So with our first initial resize, run this function right here, but don't do it again. Just resize the terminal. Don't rerun this basically. So run once with this. Okay. So you'll see this right here. So you'll see we run that command once up there. And then we say ws init shell okay true. So with our first resize object, we say, okay, we can start accepting data and sending data now, basically. That's all this does. But with other resizes, we wanted to say, this is where we set a timeout on all of those things flowing in with a 250 milliseconds thing. So with all of those things come in, kind of pace them, then resize, pace them, then resize. So that's what this is. Okay, so that's all we're doing there is two different things. So set a new timeout to resize terminal from resize floods after like 250 milliseconds. You can change this if you want to try and, you can set it 0 if you want to and see what happens. So we're just really debouncing that. That would be 500 for that. Why is that? Say 0.25 seconds there. This would be a 0.5 if we did 500 here. Like 500 would be half a second. 250 is going to be a quarter of a second. 25 there. So that's all that's really doing. And then we say if ready. So the other thing is that we want to change is down here. We only want to kind of do this if our WebSocket is ready. So now we can do this. Let's just pop this in here and we'll say, okay, we're only going to do this convert to like the data coming in and send it to our shell if our WebSocket is ready. We've received the first rows and columns. So remember, it all works for all of this logic, but it just makes it look nice for the front end right away if you don't initialize or send any data until you've resized your terminal. So that's kind of like what all this extra logic is doing. So in theory, our htop should load and be on the front page look nice based off the rows and columns from our front end. So that's what this is. So let's see if this actually runs. Hopefully we don't have any errors in there. I don't know if I'm missing anything quite yet, but it doesn't. I don't think we are. So I can also zoom out of this too and kind of scroll up and down. Let's actually test it out real quick. So in theory, reloading this page, all the rows and columns should fill up the page right away. And it does. So that's what I mean. So now what happened was we said, okay, I want to connect to the WebSocket server, right? But don't send me anything and don't accept anything until you get this initial rows and columns. So now the backend says, hey, I got your rows and columns. I'm going to resize the rows and columns for the Pty terminal on the backend so that all the data now fits your front end. Now I can send your front end frames to you and it should fit in your front end. So that's what's going on here. We now have htop running. Only because we haven't built our TUI application yet. That's the next video, at least starting it. That's another big video. But now at least we have our backend ready to go and we'll hook it into Redis and get the TUI thing built. So just real quick, I'm going to scroll up and down with this so you guys can see like what we did today. And we'll, if you guys are interested in this stuff and have more questions and want to ask me something, but let's give it a quick scroll over of everything we kind of did today, which is this WebSocket server, and it's really not that big. That's all it is to run the PTY, right? So we just need to hook it into Redis to delete, like, link the RSIDs and stuff like that. But that's a very small amount of code once we start building the other stuff. Mainly the TUI app's going to handle a lot of that. We mainly just delete the client's RSID from Redis from here. Like when a WebSocket closes, we say get rid of that as a client in Redis or add it. Yeah, but that is basically it right there. So all right, so yeah, next thing is going to be basically this. So now we need to pipe this through the PTY. So yeah,